Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and other, to my super wildcard weekend review. And I just want to point out that there are a lot of people out there that would probably die if they had to watch their team get blown out in a playoff loss like I did. But instead of dying, I heroically decided to trek on and continue to make this video for your entertainment because I care about each and every one of you, unless you're Tom Brady. That being said, I hope you enjoy this video. And also, please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. The video begins right after this. Before I begin, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, GameTime. GameTime is a ticketing app that makes it faster and easier for you to get tickets to your favorite events at a moment's notice. If you're somebody who has a hard time deciding whether or not to go out to places, then GameTime is perfect for you. Let's say you're in New York City and you want to see the Eagles play against the Giants in the season finale. Well, guess what? I'm an Eagles fan, so GameTime has all of my needs satisfied. Tons of different seats. It's so convenient, and it's not just sporting events. You got shows, you got artists, concerts, whatever. GameTime has it. Another cool feature on GameTime is something called zone deals, which allows customers to buy tickets in a general area of revenue rather than picking out just a specific row or a group of seats. GameTime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view from your seat before you buy it, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. GameTime is also obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. GameTime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. That's right, after. The GameTime guarantee means you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code BARRY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BARRY, BARRY, for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Houston versus Cleveland. This game started off with fireworks. No offense to JPP. Oh, that was so obvious. The Texans struck first by kicking a field goal, but playoff Joe Flacco made an appearance early on, leading the Browns to a touchdown drive to go up 7-3. But CJ Stroud said, I'm gonna fucking pull a Tom Brady and throw this amazing screen pass for some yak and a score to go back up 10-7. But playoff Flacco whipped out his massive dong, led the Browns back down the field, and gave them another lead on this incredible deep throw to famous amateur soccer player Kareem Hunt to put the Browns up 14-10. Puppy Scooby alert! That lead lasted for about 15 seconds. Shout out to Rick Pitino as Stroud found another yak-worthy long-ass touchdown pass to put the Texans up 17-14, a lead which they would never relinquish as the Browns offense could never get going the rest of the game. Holy crap, a touchdown pass with some air on it. I can't believe it. Anyway, that put the Texans up by 10, and eventually this heater that Flacco's been on would come to an end as he threw this incredible touchdown pass. Unfortunately, it was to the other team and returned all the way for a touchdown. Scooby loves his cocaine. Flacco said, you know what? I got nothing to lose. Let me throw another pick six just for shits and giggles, and that's exactly what happened, and it put the Texans up 38-14. Flacco on the day threw 3 touchdown passes, 2 to the other team, took a couple sacks, 10 drives. The Texans would then run up the score even more with a Devin Singletary touchdown run to go up 45-14, which would be the final score as the Browns would get the ball a couple more times and turn it over to give the Texans the right to play Baltimore next week in the divisional round. You can't help but feel a little bit sad for Deshaun Watson, right? Kansas City versus the Gay Sharks. The Chiefs started the game with a bang, no offense to John F. Kennedy, going up 7-0. There was a lull in the action, highlighted by Tua turning the ball over, making an appearance. The Chiefs would once again continue to struggle in the red zone, having to settle for a lot of field goals. On this day, though, it did not affect them, as the only touchdown the Miami team would score was on an underthrown deep pass to Tyreek Hill, famous Father of the Year winner, that made it 10-7. Mahomes had an incredibly half-sneaky long touchdown run. There was a Chiefs touchdown called back by a block in the back penalty, so they had to settle for another field goal. Really, just watching this game, it looked like Tua and most of the Dolphins had absolutely zero desire to be there in the cold. Again, another field goal for Harrison Butker made it a 16-7 game at halftime. The Dolphins offense did nothing in the third quarter. Mahomes had another half-sneaky first down run, but again, could not punch it into the end zone. Had to settle for another field goal to go up 19-7, but it didn't matter on this day. It was all academic. 3rd and 14, better throw a screen pass. It's not like your season's on the line or anything. And guess what? Mahomes would end up turning this into a touchdown drive, which was capped off by Isaiah Pacheco touchdown run to make it 26-7. And I just had to highlight this. This really just pissed me off. 4th and 16. There's 6 minutes left in your season. You're down 19. You better throw the ball 10 yards short of the fucking sticks like a pussy. What a pussy ass throw. Here's Mahomes congratulating Tua on being ass and thanking him for giving him another playoff win, which is 12 now, which is already more than Aaron Rodgers, and the guy's only played played 6 seasons, and there's chances for more still to come this year. I don't know what else you can say about Mahomes. Detroit versus the Rams. Pretty easily the game of the weekend in terms of competitiveness. Both teams came out firing, specifically the Lions, as they scored touchdowns on each of their first 3 drives, but Matthew Stafford, who by the way used to play for the Lions, I don't know if you knew that, was also on fire early as they exchanged touchdowns. Puka Nacua showed that he is legit and not a fluke in this one, as he had almost 200 yards receiving and a touchdown, but Goff's throw to Sam Laporta would put the Lions up by 11. Once again, Stafford was throwing seeds early on, including this long touchdown to Tutu Atwell, which made it 21-17, looking like this game was going to be in the 40s or 30s, and that's not how it ended up, but it was still great. The defenses stiffened up like Viagra in the second half. The Lions scored 3 points in the second half, and it was on this 54-yard field goal, but at the same time, the Rams struggled in the red zone all game long and had to settle for a couple field goals, ones that made it 24-20, and then later on 24-23 with about 8 minutes left in the game. The Rams defense would once again hold tight, giving Stafford the ball back with a chance to play hero against his former team. Did you know that? And it looked like he was going to get them into field goal range, but a holding penalty and then a controversial non-missed call on Nacua on third down forced the Rams to punt. And because the Rams had just one timeout due to bad clock management, the Lions converted a couple first downs, and that was all she wrote. John F. Kennedy has now missed 2 Detroit Lions playoff wins. It took 15 years, but after being drafted first overall by Detroit in 2009, Matthew Stafford was finally on the field to celebrate a Lions playoff win. This is why we love sports, folks. Buffalo versus Pittsburgh. The game started out exactly as everybody thought it would, even if the game was delayed for a day because of some snow. Get over it, snowflakes. Anyways, the Steelers quickly fell behind 21-0 early on, despite getting away with a fumble and Mason Rudolph throwing a terrible end zone interception. Did I mention that Josh Allen kind of had a bullshit 52-yard touchdown run because he faked sliding, which stopped the defense? They need to do something about this, honestly, but what a hard-working touchdown run. Anyway, the Steelers finally would get back onto the board after a blocked field goal to make it 21-7 at halftime. They would cut that to 21-10 in the third quarter following a field goal. The Bills answered with a field goal of their own to push back up to 14, but the Steelers would not go away, just like herpes after a weekend in Las Vegas. Rudolph, with his nose so bright, guided the Steelers' sleigh into the end zone to make it 24-17 with 9 minutes left. The game still far from over, but Josh Allen once again continued his sneaky athleticism for first downs, and then threw this unbelievable touchdown pass where he motivated his receiver to break a bunch of these tackles for a touchdown to put the Buffalo Bills up 14 with 6 minutes left. The Steelers then turned the ball over on downs. Buffalo had a chance to go up by 3 scores, but their kicker whiffed on a 26-yard field goal. It didn't matter now, but it might matter later on in the playoffs. Anyways, the game ended with Rudolph running for a first down and being body slammed into the cold turf as the Bills advanced 31-17, surprising nobody. Now they have the privilege of losing to Patrick Mahomes for the 3rd time in 4 years in the postseason. As for Pittsburgh, I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin just got a 15-year contract extension. All right, let's get this shit over with right away. I really don't have much to say. At no point in this game was it really competitive, even though the Eagles at one point had the ball for a couple possessions, down 1 score in the second half. The Eagles played like a team ever since improving to 10-1 after beating Buffalo. They just played like they didn't care, and they stumbled and they got the shit kicked out of them down the stretch, and in this game was no different. They didn't look like they cared at all. There was no fight. It was very disappointing. It's interesting that about a month or two ago, Nick Sirianni, fresh off of a Super Bowl appearance, 10-1, looked like his job security was great. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he's fired, and also that fat fuck Matt Patricia. His only adjustment that he makes defensively is switching that pencil in his ear to the other ear. He's a fucking waste of space. Anyway, being an Eagles fan, that's my job, is to consistently believe in my team, and I did that to the very end, even though I knew deep down somewhere that this team was not going to win. I continued to do it anyway because that's what fans are for. Blind loyalty, but yes. As for the future, I don't know what Jalen Hurts' ceiling is. I still think he's better than what the end of the season showed. They have to fire Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator. There's a lot of changes to be made with this team. But really, it doesn't matter what the coaching is because the effort was just disgusting. On Tampa Bay's side, though, the only silver lining of this game was that it saw Tom Brady leave a team and then that team immediately win their division and a playoff game at home, further proving my system quarterback agenda. I mean, even this fucking 4th and 12 pass completed 8 yards short of the sticks. Just a fucking terrible game. And just an awful way to send out Hall of Fame center Jason Kelce. At least he has a ring from 2017, but still, just an embarrassment all around. I know that. I sometimes play up a character, but at the end of the day, guess what? At the start of next season, I'm going to say the Eagles are going to win Super Bowl 59, because if you're not going to believe that your team's going to win the Super Bowl, who will? And no matter what, people are going to hate, so you might as well be an arrogant prick about it. But yeah, Tampa just fucking spanked us. But the disastrous end to the Eagles season was softened just a bit by what happened in this next game. Green Bay versus Dallas. For almost 5 months, I warned each and every one of you when all of you said, oh, you're just a Dak hater and you're just a stupid idiot for hating on Dak because he's just going to prove you wrong in the playoffs and the Cowboys are going to win and all blah, blah. You can suck my dick. I was fucking right. I might be wrong about some shit, but I have been 100% right about Dak Prescott. This guy is somebody you cannot trust in big games. And in this game, the Cowboys got spanked even harder than my Eagles did, which is not much of a consolation prize, but it's still something, okay? And don't even look at the final score because this was a shitload. This was historical garbage time stat padding by Dak Prescott. When this game was still in the balance, he was horrible. He threw the game-losing interception, which was pick six in return that put Dallas in a 27-point hole. He's fucking terrible. 2-5 career playoff record. Never been to a conference championship game in 8 seasons. And I know what you're going to say. Well, you're an Eagles fan. You can't talk shit. Well, actually, I can because I've seen my team win a Super Bowl. I've seen my team get to 3 Super Bowls. I've seen my team play in like 7 conference championship games. Jalen Hurts, for all the shit he gets, has gone to a Super Bowl and played well in a Super Bowl. And Dak Prescott's never even made a conference championship game before. And who knows? This Dallas team was supposed to be the year that he finally got there and he couldn't do it because he crapped his pants. While Jordan Love, in 1 playoff game, has already done better than anything Dak has done in 8 years. And even Tony Romo, for that matter, going all the way back because Cowboys fans act like Tony Romo was fucking Joe Montana. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I didn't even bother showing the disgusting garbage time stat padding that Dak did. That'll trick morons into thinking he put up a fight, but no. He was just fucking atrocious, and I loved every minute of this game. Thank you, Green Bay, for snuffing out and providing me at least some comfort during this difficult time as an Eagles fan. If the Eagles can't win it and Tom Brady's not playing, then Cowboys are my number one enemy, so thank you, Green Bay, once again. Jordan Love looks like he could be the 3rd straight Hall of Fame quarterback for Green Bay that only wins 1 Super Bowl. Now get to my Barry's Wild Card Weekend Awards. Offensive Player of the Week goes to Jordan Love from the Packers. His playoff debut, 16 for 21, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a near perfect passer rating. Him and CJ Stroud had near identical stat lines, but I chose him because he eliminated the Cowboys. And also I thought he made some more impressive throws than CJ did on the day. But either way, incredible performance by Jordan Love. Packers are now the first 7th seed to ever win a playoff game. And of course it came at the Cowboys' expense, so that's great. My Defensive Player of the Week goes to Christian Harris from the Houston Texans. He had a sack, he had a pick 6, he had a bunch of tackles in Houston's surprising blowout win versus the Browns. And again, my biggest loser of the week is not the Dallas Cowboys, because the Dallas Cowboys, despite their loss, they're going to continue to be the most overrated franchise in sports. They're going to continue to get 6 or 7 primetime games every year. They're going to continue to get all this attention because so many morons in this country still root for them, even though most of these Cowboys fans aren't even old enough to remember the last time this team played a conference championship game. So if you're a Cowboys fan under the age of 40, I don't ever want to hear you talk shit about the Eagles anyway, or any other team for that matter, because you haven't experienced any success. Look at it this way. The Jaguars have made 3 conference championship games since you last did. The Houston Texans are 1 game away from making more conference championship games since 96 than you are. And that's just a whole bunch of shit I could go into. But anyway, this is about Dak Prescott. My point is that the Dallas Cowboys franchise, despite their ineptitude over the last 25 or so years, at least they still got these 5 rings. Now most of those rings were Mickey Mouse rings in the early part of the Super Bowl era, and the 90s Cowboys were just coke-filled motherfuckers, but they got the job done. Dak Prescott has nothing. He literally has nothing but empty stats. And like I said in the Eagles recap and the Cowboys recap, Jalen Hurts could do nothing for the rest of his career. And Jalen Hurts, he has his flaws, I know that, but he has great performance on the Super Bowl stage. Dak Prescott, as of this moment, does not have that, and he probably never will have that. So no matter what happens in Jalen Hurts' career, for the rest of his career, Jalen Hurts will always have that great Super Bowl performance, even in a loss. Dak Prescott, what does he have to fall back on? A couple wild card wins? Just like Romo. It's just great stats, not even great stats, good stats most of the time. We're not talking about a Dan Marino here. We're talking about a guy who juices his stats against shitty teams, cannot be trusted in big games. Even Jerry Jones, who's the biggest villain of the Cowboys, has 3 Super Bowl rings to fall back on. Even Mike McCarthy, who's probably going to be fired, at least he has a fucking Super Bowl ring to fall back on. Dak Prescott has nothing, and this disgusting blowout playoff loss in a year where the Cowboys, by all metrics, were one of the best teams in the league, and they blew out so many teams, and they had all this point differential, and they're the 2 seed, and they were set up for success. They once again go out in a laughable manner, and Dak Prescott was the biggest reason why. I don't want want to hear anything or any praise for Dak the rest of his career until he does something in the postseason, other than win a wild card game, which he couldn't even do this year, which is hilarious. Tom Brady, check down pass of the week goes to CJ Stroud for this amazing long 70-plus yard touchdown pass versus the Browns. Great way to juice up the stats. Anyway, fuck the Cowboys, fly Eagles fly. And now it's playoff puppy time. Only pussies will X out of this because they're not man enough to look at these beautiful little doggies.